Cool 101.7. I have Brian Matuszak with me. And Brian, you probably recognize that name because I remember you went back a ways, but I didn't remember that you did Colder by the Lake.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are going to recognize that name,
Absolutely.
the old comedy troupe.
Oh, they are. They're still around. They do stuff every once in a while. But yeah. You talk about sort of like, locally, the Beatles of local sketch comedy.
Exactly.
It's Colder by the Lake.
Yeah.
I was a big fan of theirs when they first started in, I think, like 84 or 85, and we went to every single one of their shows. So when I had an opportunity to join the group, it was really cool, but it was also very intimidating because, first of all, sketch comedy is a different kind of process than people that know about, maybe being in a play and rehearsing a play, because you have the script from the get-go, from day one. But when you do sketch comedy, you're writing it as well as performing it. So early on in that process, it's a lot of brainstorming, sitting around, making each other laugh. And I was so new to that process, but I was surrounded by all these people that I had watched on stage. So I was just like, this is so awesome. And I didn't contribute a lot early on. So I'm so glad that they didn't kick me out, because I would sit around and just sit there and laugh and just have a great time. So it was a different kind of process, but it was exciting to be a part of it. But yeah, that was my first experience. I'd been on stage before. I'd done some playhouse shows and stuff. But the first time I'd been involved with sketch comedy and putting together a review, was with Colder in 87. Christmas 87 was my first.
I was just going to look up the date that you sent me in 87, yeah. And then you went on to the Renegade Comedy Theater.
Yep. Excuse me. We formed Renegade. Colder decided they didn't want to do Christmas shows anymore, which was fine, but I had the bug now. I wanted to do these.
Okay.
Because that's when Colder was doing them at the end of the year, and it made sense because you sit and you look back at everything that's happened in the news for the past year, so you get an opportunity to have some fun with it. So they didn't want to do them anymore, but I still did. So I just said, well, I got some folks that were involved in Colder and some other folks that I had been working with at the time, and I just said, well, let's still do one on our own. So we did, and we called it Renegade Comedy Theater. We just came up with a name, so we had a name for the group because
it makes sense now.
Yeah, and then the thing that happened that was interesting was it went really well, and we just decided, that was fun. Let's just keep Renegade going. It's sort of this taste of freedom. But, because there's other plays. Like I wanted to do some plays, and the other folks that had started the group with me, Don Hansen and a few other folks, well, they had some ideas they wanted to do that hadn't been done locally. So it's like, well, now we're free. We're our own group, so let's do them. And so that's how Renegade got started and doing different things, plays and the sketch comedy reviews. We did outdoor family melodrama for a while. That was a lot of fun. Down at Pickers in the back courtyard. Now it's filled up with other things, but they had a big courtyard that was open.
Yeah.
So a couple summers there. In fact, the summer of the benzene spill, this is going way back. I think it was like 92.
See, and I was already in Nashville by that time, so I wasn't around anymore.
Yeah, but I remember doing that. It didn't happen during the benzene spill, but I just remember it was right around the same time. So we would sit out in that back courtyard and we'd go, we could be dead. It's heading across the lake, but it didn't happen. But anyway, so that's how Renegade got started.
The way that I heard about that is everybody knew I was from the land of Dylan, is what they would say to me. And then they said, oh, man, Dylan's hometown has got a spill. And they're all dying of gas. I was like, what? I called my parents right away. I said, is there a gas spill? And everybody has gas, man? No, it's not. It's
fine, actually.
Yeah.
We're fine. It was a big thing. It was interesting. Yeah, I think the whole downtown Duluth, got evacuated for a little while, because they just didn't know what was going to happen.
There was a Duluth comedian that somebody had told me about, and maybe he wasn't from Duluth, but he had this piece that he did during a stand-up routine about it was the gas that dentists use. And so everybody in the town was laughing at the spill and everything. And nothing hurt.
It was awesome.
So then from Renegade, you moved on to?
Then I started Rubber Chicken Theater in 2008. And that's we've been doing sketch comedy shows just like
you show your
Renegade
logo.
used to.
You wore your logo today.
Yeah. We have merchandise.
Yeah. We'll get a website later so everybody can buy the merchandise. So really, total shameless plug then.
Rubber Chicken has been doing the same, sort of picked up that mantle. It's the same sort of thing that Renegade didn't want to do the Christmas shows anymore, so we wanted to keep doing them because, like I said, the sketch comedy is just such for me, a theatrical animal that I just love because, again, it's completely original. You have to sit around and you write it. You tweak it, you get it sharp, and you think about Carol Burnett and Saturday Night Live and those sorts of things. It's all sketch comedy. It's obviously a wide, long, varied history. So I just wanted to keep doing it. So we started doing it in '08, and then the same sort of thing happened, and then we also had the freedom and wanted to do new so Rubber Chicken does a lot of different things, and a lot of really cool things, too. Like folks are probably familiar with our chicken hat plays. We just did our chicken hat plays where we create 8 original one-act plays in 24 hours. Those are fun to do. So we do those. Nobody else.
I would
is doing
imagine
those.
very stressful
That's
too.
Very stressful, but very fun. A lot of people like those. And then we just started a couple years ago doing live reads of famous movie scripts. So we call them live reads, and those are fun. We've done where you do Princess Bride. You have to do Princess Bride.
Yeah.
But we did Wrath of Khan. We did Young Frankenstein.
Harry Met Sally?
We haven't done that one yet.
Ooh.
Put it on the list.
I have a great reading of that. We used to do this thing called crisscrossing, and we would send me out, and I would have to do something in a half hour. And that day it was get somebody to read the orgasm scene with me live on the radio.
Yeah.
So when I started out, this lady at the gas station, it was the one over on the corner by the radio station here. It's gone. Now it's a Quick Trip.
Yeah.
I got her to read it because nobody was in the store. And of course, in true radio fashion, as we start the bit live on the air, people are piling in. And she's reading the part. When it gets to the orgasm, they all are, yeah!
Because they knew what it was. That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, we do a lot of different things like that. But the Christmas show is always going to be around. Even if I'm going to step out of it, there's still plenty of people that enjoy doing it as much as I do and do a great job.
From the sounds of your career, though, if they stop doing it, you're going to be back.
And I'll have to be back, I suppose. I don't want it to go away. It's just I love sketch comedy. Mm-hmm.
So now I don't want to say anything bad about anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to say, who is your favorite person to perform with? And that's because you either do well or you have the most fun with them. Not because anybody else was bad, but there's that one person you have that connection with.
Well, I'd have to say Tom Martinson, and the folks that, again, who know Colder by the Lake know Tom, or Marty. We call him Marty.
Yep.
I got involved with him with Renegade. He was one of the co-founders of the group, actually, wanted to do some more shows, so he joined in. But yeah, because with Marty, he is so fast. A lot of times in sketch comedy, even though obviously it's rehearsed and performed, still things can happen. It's a loose enough format that you can play with an audience a little bit. So, and sometimes we have because some sort of things happen. But anyway, just Marty was really good at that. So if something would happen and he'd take it somewhere, I could go with him, or I'd take it somewhere and he'd follow me. You know what I mean? There's he's a true, and audiences love him. There's just some connection with Marty. He and I still perform together. We do what we call them convention shows, where groups will come to town. In fact, we have one coming up in a couple of weeks. They want holiday entertainment, or they want you to come in and write a show for their group, and so that's another thing that Rubber Chicken does. Plug. But so Marty is great at those, because a lot of times those groups, they just they want to laugh for 30 minutes. And over the years, since we've been doing this for so long, we have sketches that we can pull out of the archives that we know are real popular with groups. And so. There's a lot of them that feature Marty. And in fact, Marty has a character called Father Stu, which, again, if anybody knows Cold or Renegade, Father Stu is a fantastic character that Marty developed that plays with an audience. And anyway, so I just love doing shows with Marty, because you know going in that it's going to be gold no matter what. Even if things go south, if somebody drops a line or an audience gets a little hostile, Marty can handle it, and it's going to be great. So I'd have to say Tom. Yeah.
I've heard people describe you as in the moment. You are always in the moment, and maybe that's why it worked with you guys, because you're both in the moment.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you have to be up, and there's been some funny stories too. Like it just popped into my head when you mentioned that. One of the Renegade shows would have been whenever the election was, when Ross Perot was running, so 91, 92, somewhere in there. Anyway, we did a sketch where I played Ross Perot and Marty was Admiral Stockdale. A lot of people probably don't remember Stockdale was his vice presidential candidate.
Yeah.
And there was a thing that had happened at the time that got kind of famous. They did a debate with the vice presidents, and Admiral Stockdale famously looked into the camera and said, "Who am I? Why am I here?" And it was just funny. So Marty did that. But anyway, as part of the sketch, I don't remember the exact reason for this, but it devolved into a pie fight, which are always great. If you can do a pie fight, do it. All the actors complain, but audiences love it, so it's always worth it. But this was closing night.
The janitors don't like it either.
Yeah, they don't like it. This was closing night, so we had a lot of pie filling. These particular pies we used Cool Whip. Product placement.
Right.
We had some left, and so we loaded up the pies. They were just huge, and actually, and I didn't know that the actress who did that backstage decided on her own to do that. I didn't know that, and Marty didn't know that. And we're on stage doing the bit, and she comes out with the pie, and we could both see that this thing is huge. So we go, this isn't going to end well. So, and Marty's the one who always got smacked, and he was like, oh boy. So he just resigned to it. But I knew, I never got, I knew that was going to come flying. It was going, who knows where. So I took a step to my left, to get out of the way, get away from where that pie was going. And of course, when she went to hit Marty with the pie, it was so overloaded that enough flew off the top. The trajectory was perfect to, boom, hit me right in the side of the face, right where I had decided to stand. The audience loved it. It couldn't have been planned better.
Right.
I mean, stuff like that is just great. And I can't remember exactly what we said, but Marty and I played with it, obviously, and had some fun with it, and the audience just loved it. And moments like that are what you live for. I mean, that was just so much fun. But pie fights, we now have learned to, because some of the Cool Whips stayed around backstage too long and not in a cooler, and so it was not pretty. So now we do it with shaving cream, which is stingy but easy to clean up.
Right.